Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Agile Network India August 2021 events. And we are here with our next session of the day, which is a very interesting topic from Ahmedabad chapter on retrospective, the most underrated process in the Scrum. We have Kushu Dr. Nidhi Thakur and Karthik Dhokia. But before moving on to the session, I would like to thank our founding sponsor, that is Innovation Roots. It is a leading consulting and training service provider helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. It is one of the leaders and pioneers of niche publishing services and well known for content collaboration with global thought leaders, authors, and creators. For more information, visit www.innovationroots.com. I would also like to thank our sponsor, Gile, which is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services Limited, which is a purely cloud-based enterprise agile planning tool along with the DevOps capabilities. Enterprise can use Gile to adopt agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using enterprise scaling frameworks such as SAFe, Discipline Agile, Less, and more. You can try out Gile for free up to 20 users for 30 days by signing up at gile.io or reach out to us for any inquiries or exclusive product demo. Check out the Gile page on Agile Network India website for more information. Here are some quick do's and don'ts for the participants. Join the events 5 minutes before the start time. Use high quality speakers or headphones for better sound quality. Please keep your microphones muted and videos disabled as this may cause disturbance and bandwidth issue. Questions will be taken via the chat box. I request all the participants to put their questions in the chat box. At the end of the session, the facilitator or the moderator will help and read out a few questions to the speaker as per the time available. Please fill in the feedback forms after the event to help us understand more about the event management. We appreciate your cooperation. With this, I welcome Kushu Doctor to come on microphone and camera.
Hey guys, good
Hi,
afternoon to everyone.
good afternoon. Over to
Uh,
you.
yep, thank you, Nisha. It has been a pleasure being associated with the ANI for the last few months, and it has been an enriching experience learning from the lot of speakers that have graced this podium. So today in the afternoon, we are bringing a very exciting session on one of the most neglected and uh, left out ceremony of Scrum, that is the retrospective. So with me, we have Karthik, and Karthik has a decade plus of experience in Agile. So Karthik, can you do your self introduction, please?
Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Doctor. So Karthik Doka is this side holding decade plus years of experience into IT industry, working across multiple domains, starting from retail domain, hospitality, banking, and healthcare, but more passionate about digital transformation, precisely for any of the product, working with startups, SMEs, and enterprise products so far. The reason behind having passionate about the transformation because I've transformed myself being as a QA. I started my journey as a QA and now playing the role of a delivery manager with an organization based out in Ahmedabad, that's Rapid Sync. So this is what it's all about me. And I have also been associated with ANI year back. I have been a speaker for Vadodara chapter earlier. So that's it from my end.
Yeah, we also have on the call as a speaker Nidhi. So Nidhi, over to you. Your introductions, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I might have met quite few of you before as well on the same platform. So I would like to take this opportunity again to introduce myself. I am a IT professional since more than 13 years. I started my career as a software developer and then right now I'm into the project management. And if we talk about the frameworks which we have been following, so if you talk like whether it's a waterfall, whether it's a Scrum, Kanban, or even the latest Scaled Agile, which is in a talks now. So yes, I have been working on all such frameworks, and I'm really happy to share my experience with you all.
Great stuff. Thank you guys for your introduction. So let's start the discussion. So all of you here are aware of the Scrum process. And in the Scrum process, if you look at the diagram, right in one corner of that diagram is something that is known as the retrospective. And across the multiple projects that I have conducted and the panelists have conducted, we have come to realize that retrospective is one thing that is always taken for granted. We do retrospective because it is there, but I have never seen a company that goes and says, I am doing the retrospective for some benefit. Okay. Now, if you understand the Scrum as a process, Scrum talks about three things: inspect, adapt, and perform. So first you perform, then you inspect how you have performed, and then you adapt that input in a manner that can get benefit in the next Scrum process. So continuous evolution is one of the most important things that is there as a part of the Scrum process. That you have to continuously evolve. Your second Scrum has to be better than your first Scrum, and your third Scrum has to be better than your second and the first Scrum. So according to me, when I look at the process, retrospective is a very important aspect of the Scrum process, but which has been neglected over a period of time. So today we want to have a discussion on the retrospective, where we try and find out how we can make the retrospective better. And after making the retrospective better, how do we take the advantages and go forward? Okay. Yes, there are some comments. What is an alternative for retrospective? There is no alternative for retrospective. There is nothing. Okay. Retrospective is retrospective. Now, when we talk about the English terminology of the word retrospective, retrospective is means looking back. So looking back, understanding, like in project management, if you are PMI certified, and if you understand the PMP certification knowledge areas, then there is a very important knowledge area that is known as lessons learned. And this is very important. Is retrospective become uh, equal to improvement? It becomes equal to continuous improvement, not just improvement. It becomes equal to continuous improvement. Okay. So there are a lot of questions coming in. I honor those questions, but I would like to hold on to the questions, and I would like to ask Karthik and Nidhi to talk about their experiences of retrospective and what they feel about this concept of retrospective. So Karthik, you go first, then we get Nidhi on to talk about retrospective.
Sure. So the first and foremost part, what I feel, a retrospective is an investment. It's not a tax, right? So it's all about investment. It's all about what you put into it and what are the benefits you are planning to get out of it. So it's always about an investment. It is not about the tax, first of all. So mainly because we always focus more on an investment rather than on a tax. So that's the reason, like, I've tried to map it out retrospective as an investment and a tax, right? So it's not a tax, and it's all about, like, as already Krishna Doctor have already mentioned, that it's all about looking back. So it's not only about an improvement. Someone have asked a question that it's only about improvement. It's not only about improvement and a continuous improvement, but it's also about recognizing that what is the best amount of work our team have done. We also have to acknowledge their work. We also have to appreciate that work. right? That also comes into retrospective. If you always talk about improvement, if you don't appreciate anyone, right, at some point of time what people would start feeling it like it's always about pulling legs of us into the team, right? So that is a thought process what people are having it for now, and that's the reason like we guys are actually leaving probably we are not valuing the retrospectives, or we are losing the value of a retrospective in that case. So that's the reason like and apart from that what I feel like, if we want to have a retrospective as a key meeting, in that case the scrum master playing a role, right? That people are actually very crucial to the group or a team. The reason is it's like retrospective is how the scrum master actually visioning the things, right? What is the vision of a scrum master with regards to retrospective? Are they happy conducting the retrospective? Are they happy making people feel comfortable, right? Are we addressing all the five scrum values into the retrospective? Because if we are not addressing all the five scrum values into a retrospective, probably we would not be able to get a good results out of it, right? Another reason why we are leaving a value from the retrospective is because we guys are not always addressing, or probably we guys are not taking out an actions out of it, right? Because we always have four kind of people into our team, right? The one are there are two kind of people majorly it is affecting a retrospective. The one is actually a prisoner. What prisoner means actually, right? The prisoner means actually they are not actually interested to improve, neither they are allowing someone else to improve as well, right? On these aspects we have to figure it out that what exactly it's stopping us, what are the hindrance. We have to make sure as a scrum master to address all such things to make sure that probably we are able to deliver retrospective a very good value. So that what retrospective means to me, that everyone should be on the same page, everyone should follow all the five scrum values and respect each other. And it's we also have to understand that retrospective is a blameless meeting, right? It's not a blame meeting. We don't have to blame anyone. It's always about an improvement, what sort of improvements we guys are bringing, probably bringing it up right into the meeting. So this how actually we can improve as a team. And it's not a meeting for any individual persons, it's a meeting for the entire team, that what we brings as a team on a table, and how do we get improved individually as well as a team. So if we add value to ourselves, automatically the value would be added to the team. So this what retrospective means to me actually.
Yeah, very well said. The innocent postmortem is something which is very much required. So,
Exactly.
whenever we say retrospective, what happens is we are gathering around to discuss our flows, and people start taking things personally. But that is not the case. Like, retrospective is something which we begin with our achievement, no matter how many setbacks we had, no matter how much blockers we had, we still achieved, we still at least delivered what we committed as in our sprint goal. So that is something we start our retrospective with the celebration, and then we go into the discussion. Okay, these are the things which didn't go as a plan, so we go into the further discussion, like how we should be improving ourselves, or how we should be improving the processes to make sure that these things never happen, and we learn from our mistake. And that is where Karthik rightly said that it should be blameless. We are over here to not to point fingers towards any particular department or any particular person. So if at all you are sitting in that discussion, you have to come with the open mind. Everyone's experience is valid. If someone is saying that I had this problem, and if the second developer says no, that was not the case, but we have to value what the another developer is saying. He faced something, that is why he is speaking it up. So that's where retrospectives are really important to get everyone's perspective, and it is really important for everyone to speak up what issues they are facing. So that's the major issue. Like, even if we are doing the retrospective, people are not speaking up. They need to understand, if they are not going to raise their issues there, if they are not going to raise their concerns, there is no solution to it. You have to say that, okay, I faced these many issues while working, so if we can do something to help you out, that is when he will be getting a solution. And the major setback which I have seen is, okay, if organization is following properly agile, they are doing the retrospective, the major missing components are the takeaways action items. People discuss, okay, we did very well and these are the processes which we will try to execute this way, and this is something we need to communicate to the external team members. They discuss it, but the follow-ups actions never happen. So what they need to do is, once their retrospective is complete, they need to take the action items on hand and decide who will be taking a leadership towards that and who will be working on it. And they need to derive the deadlines, like, okay, by this time we will be trying to complete this. By the two retrospectives, we should not be showing feeling these issues any longer. And the another setback which I have seen is, like, if the team is working longer than 2 3 years, there is everything is set, all the processes has been smoothed out, and they see, okay, now for us retrospective is not required because we are already doing very well, we are not seeing any issues, we are delivering whatever we are committing. So that is when the qualitative processes are not required, but that is when we need to go into the quantitative. Let's say if at all we are delivering 30 to 50 story points since last 2 3 sprints, it means that we are not learning new, we are not challenging ourselves, we are not improving our deliverables sprint by sprint. So that should be a also goal. If you are set with the processes, we are not seeing any issues with the processes, but now we need to make sure that, okay, initially as a team we used to deliver these many story points, now what we can do to come out of that comfort zone and challenge ourselves to do much better. So it is really very important. And as our subject is, many things are really ignored during the retrospectives.
Rightly said, Nidhi. It's actually things happen like majorly I have seen into the teams where people have senior members who are within organizations from so long, as well as their experiences are also too large, right? And that people actually don't like when people point out their mistakes. Though the one of juniors, because the juniors also have the broader mindset and they also have the new things coming up into their mind which the senior members have not thought of it, and due to which actually this happened. This happened a lot during the sessions, like when we always try to acknowledge things, and when juniors come up with the issues that we can have an improvement, probably this is not the way how we code, or this is not the way how we test an applications, right? Or probably we there are XYZ things we can do much better. So in that case, again, senior member would actually counter question that, like, why do you feel felt such things to happen? And this how actually the junior members get demotivated and they never show up again into the next retrospective. So this what happened, because we always have the teams, right, with a mixed match of experience. Like it's not all about having the all the freshers into the one team and all the experience into the one team. So it's always things happens like we have the mixed match of a team, and the senior member always tend to question it, that what exactly why you feel, why junior members felt that this is not the right way. But eventually this happens a lot, that junior members are being challenged and junior members always felt that they are wrong on their side. Sometimes because obviously that people are new to an organization, new to the process, new to the industries, everything. And this what it happens. And probably this is the reason why I feel that retrospective get neglected slowly and gradually, because also because this is a job of a scrum master, right? That they have to raise, they have to uplift the team members. If they don't uplift the team members, in that case probably this would be an issue, and probably this would be the case would always be happening. So this is an ongoing thing which needs to get stopped. But the only person who can get stopped is a team as well as the scrum masters, right? Because also team have to understand this is not a process or a meeting where we are being judged or we would be getting punished, right? There is the
Yeah,
retrospective is completely like there should be no one who be judged or punished, but it's all about improving every day slowly and gradually. And if we start from day one itself, right, if we start adding a small amount of water into the bucket at one day, right, the bucket will be full. But this is the only way you can improve slowly and gradually. So probably I feel that this why the retrospective is neglected. And I would always urge scrum masters to come forward and have some sort of meetings where people would be actually showing it up, and that will addressing all the five scrum values, and probably they would be sharing all their feelings of and what actually didn't went well into the last sprint and probably what went well as well. And apart from that, majorly when there are some things, right, where probably what would happen is like we never appreciate anyone, right? If someone is doing a very good job into the sprint, team never appreciate, because they feel that if they appreciate someone else, right, their work would not be seen, and they would not be judged, or they would not be getting a good appraisals, because ultimately numbers plays a vital role in everyone's mind, right? So this is what the case is happening, and this is why things happen.
Karthik, you made a very great point about uh, recognition. And
Yes.
recognition is a very important factor for motivating the team, or uh, having them do better in the next scrum. So it is very important that recognition also gets included as a part of the retrospective meeting. As they say, you have to really give a pat on everyone's back, celebrate small successes. And another very important fact in the retrospective, and that is where we really go off track and where people stop participation, is getting into the blame game. We are not here to find faults. In a retrospective, please do not use retrospective to find faults. It is not about fault finding. It is about, as a team, as a common group of people, finding out what we can do better, how we can deliver more value in the next sprint. It is all about value creation. So let us talk. Let us ensure that the focus is on fixing or finding out how more value can get created. Another very important factor, uh, can we not have meeting outside retrospective and set a better method of reviewing issues? Yeah, it is up to you to give a name to whatever meeting you have. The process, yes, Karthik, give me a minute. I will allow you to speak. But whatever name you give, you can give. You can call it retrospective, you can not call it retrospective, you can do whatever you want. But what you do as a part of that meeting is very important. And a part of that meeting that you have to do is to do inspect and adapt. That is very important. Yes, Karthik, you wanted to make a point.
Yes, I wanted to make a point with regards to a question that can we have a meeting outside, right? Retrospective meeting anywhere. Yes, I am the person who have done retrospective in a cafe,
Yeah,
right? The only reason is I wanted to make sure that my team opens up, and probably there were actually some team members who were actually not comfortable speaking it up in the into the conference room. So I have taken the entire team on it at a coffee, and in that we had a small discussion around it, that what probably went well and what didn't went well, and what is an area of improvement we guys can do it. And the people have shown the marvelous interest, and people have opened up like anything. And this is where we got a good productivity and I can say action items to take away. So this is how actually we guys used to do it. I used to take a team for a walk as well and do a retrospective. So
yeah, I
these
have
are
done it in the
the
garden. I have done it in the garden also. I have done it in the garden. In
yes.
InfoCity, I have done it in the InfoCity garden. So, Nidhi, what is your point of view on that?
My point of view is you are not bounded by any location or anything. As far as entire team is there and everyone is willing and feeling safe to open up, that's all required. Whether you call it retrospective, whether you call it chai pe charcha, whatever it is, this team should
Correct.
be able to open up and identify. Okay, there is some issue and how we can improvise. So that's the important. That's the only thing which is important, that we celebrate and we discuss our flows and we come
Amazing.
forward.
Amazing Nidhi and Karthik. I think this is the right thing about retrospective is do it anywhere, call it anything, but do inspect and adapt. But the amazing thing is हमने रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव तो कर लिया, गार्डन में किया, काफे में किया, सबने बहुत इंटेलिजेंट बात भी कर ली. व्हाट हैपेंस नेक्स्ट? उसके बाद क्या? What happens after that? And that is where the problem starts. That,
Exactly.
like, the easy part is that we find out the the people to give us feedback about what did not go well, what went well, all that. But after that, what? So after that, that is where the things go wrong. Is we never track the feedback of one retrospective into the another retrospective, so that we can track whether whatever we had decided as action items, have we worked on those action items. And that is what I call retrospective of a retrospective. So when we start the retrospective, we talk about what happened in the previous meeting, what happened to the actions, and whether we have performed those actions or not, and have those actions brought in any benefits or not. That is very important. So Karthik, your views on this?
Obviously, see that's very much important and actually the probably heart of that particular meeting. I would say that particular area is the heart of that meeting because if we speak a lot, but if we don't act on it, right, it would not help us out. And our motto with Agile is plan, do, and act, and we have to act on it, right? So until unless if we won't act on the things what we have jotted down, in that case it would not help us out to make ourselves better, right? So it's individual responsibilities when, because what happened is, like, suppose for an example, I'll give you an example very quickly, that say that a code review is being not done properly, right? Suppose for, like, it's QAs have raised a concern that on just on a clicking on a button, the application is getting crashed. So in that case, the code is being written by probably a junior developer or a developers, right? But it is a tech lead responsibilities to do the code review properly, right? And in that case, code reviews, the person who is a tech lead, right? There is a lack of a commitment into a code review, and that's the reason, like, we could not figure it out what happened it. So this where when QA shared a value, when QA shared actually this should not happen, the tech lead would was actually being a bit of an offensive. But in that case, I just conveyed very clearly that, see, this is what we have to learn as a team, right? It is an improvement point, no matter from where it came. It's a beat a QA or a junior developer. It's your responsibility to make sure the code review is being done properly, and then it's getting deployed. So this is where actually we are doing a retro of a retro, and we make sure that next time, whenever there is any sort of deployment, we are not getting any sort of small issues, which is actually on just on a click we are getting an application crash. So this is how actually we improved a lot into some things, and this is where I feel that retro of retro is required.
Nidhi, what are your views?
Yeah, it is very much required. It is generally being said that to talk is easy, but to follow something is very difficult. So that is the part which we are discussing. So I have seen many teams, what they do is they take up the action item from the retrospective and add it to the sprint goal of the next sprint. So this is how
Superb.
they keep a track, either by creating a user story or issue or task, whatever methodology or the words they use, but they need to make sure that someone is working on it. And what they do is, like, we also had this issue about the code review process. So we simply change the DoD definition for our user stories. QA will not give a sign off unless and until they see the code review has been performed and then task has been checked. So this is how we
Superb.
small changes we need to incorporate, and we start immediately need to start working in that direction. So it is very important, else every retrospective we will be doing the same discussion again and again. It will be like a deja vu.
You make a very interesting point, but there is a very interesting question that has come from Prashant Gulwadi. What would be your suggestion to avoid group thinking in a retrospective meeting? So Nidhi, what are the tips that you would like to give to this, to Prashant, about how to avoid this concept of group thinking, because that is a very common thing.
it happens when we start discussing something, everyone has an input and everyone wants to say. It is very important at one point to have everyone's input and a betterment idea, but I believe it will be a responsibility of an facilitator. In Scrum, it's a Scrum master and a timekeeper, to make sure that we are discussing it, but we are not going too deep into the one topic that we cannot discuss the rest of the items. So mostly what I try to do is, if we see that there is a one issue and we are not getting to the solution, or we are not getting any ideas to improve, we take it to the parking lot, and then we what we do is we set up another meeting and we discuss that in a deep, that we still need the solution, right? So you cannot totally ignore the thing that we do not have solution and we are still discussing. We just take it to the parking lot and we make sure that it's an action item to come to this and discuss this properly. That's the only way the facilitator can do it, and I know it's very hard, and retrospective is something, the group thinking is very common.
Yeah, Karthik, your views?
I would say it is impossible for stopping it and or probably saying it avoiding a group think. The reason why is see the it's very common. We cannot stop someone else's thought process, right? We cannot
Yeah,
we can have a hold or control on someone where we should not have. But again, even if you have a control on someone, you are not having a control on their thought process, right? So people would think it, people might not speak it up, but people would definitely think on the direction where they have to think. So instead of avoiding such things, right, or instead of stopping such things, appreciate it, right? Tell them where they are going wrong, tell them how to get back on a track, and this how actually you can stop avoiding such things. But you would not actually you cannot stop or you cannot avoid a group thing.
yeah. So my experience of doing this is, many a times we collect anonymous feedback before the meeting. So there are a lot of good free tools available that you can use to conduct the retrospectives. So there are tools where I can give multiple inputs, but not be able to see what my peers have given, what inputs my peers have given. So there are those tools available. If you see free retrospective tools, if you put a search in Google, then you will be able to see those kind of tools, and you can use that tool based on the requirement that you have. Another thing that you can do is you make your retrospective result oriented. So once people see that an individual input is getting a value and there is some action being taken on that input, then automatically people will be more motivated to give their own individual inputs. So there are a lot of ways we have utilized to conduct retrospective meetings. If there are people who want to understand what are the different ways of conducting a retrospective meeting, then send me a message or send messages to any one of us, and we can help you understand how different types of retrospective meetings can be conducted. I can send you a document also on that. So reach out to us after this meeting, and we can help you. So this is the any other questions? What if somebody repeatedly comes to retro and improvements are missing? Don't you think uh, what if someone repeatedly comes to retro and improvements are missing? Don't you think retro by itself can't fix this problem? If retro cannot fix this problem, then nothing can fix the problem. Okay, let us concentrate on one very important aspect of Scrum, that is continuous improvement. What you need to do is to be able to improve continuously. And this is one ceremony which can be effectively used to improve. Yes, Karthik, your views.
Yes. So I would say that improvement comes from the inner self first and then it comes to the outer world. So improvement always starts from your inner world. right? If you are not able to improve your inner world, right, probably your outer world would never get improved. People can actually bluff to the outer world, but definitely it could not sustain for a longer time, right? If you want to sustain for a longer time, your improvements should start from the inner world and not from the outer world. So that's what my view is all about. If it's all about, forget about retrospective, right? It's about inner world, yourself internally. Are you
How
happy
much
with your,
I want to increase, how much I want to improve, what is it
exactly how
I
much?
want to do. Correct.
Yes, it's
Super.
exactly how I want to improve myself, how much I want to uplift myself, right? If I have grown into my, if I have grown to a CEO level internally, definitely one day I would be a CEO into outer world. But actually, if I'm always thinking that I could not be that place, right? Definitely, I would not achieve such things. So always things start from your inner world and then it exists and executed to the outer world.
Yeah,
Nidhi?
that's very true that retrospective is something everyone should do it for themselves as well. But I can see the pain from where the pain is coming. Sometimes it happens that we have some so much enthusiasm in the team members. Everyone is willing to improve, but always there will be one candidate. No matter how many retrospective we discuss, we try to understand. The things never get improved. So the final solution for me, I believe, is to get it included into the feedback cycle and make it a performance related, and then
Uh,
then they will see the value like, okay, this is the area something I'm doing 99% good, but this is the one pointer which I have been getting every time, so now I need to improve. Yes, Karthik.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to share some one more experience from my team itself. The same thing happened with my team. That there were two people who actually who were not improving, and the action what I took is like I went for a coffee or a tea shop, right, with them, right, individually, and I have asked them a personal reasons, because there could be a personal reasons behind it for not getting improved, because it's not always about willingness, but it's always about the personal things happening at your place as well. Because when we guys are walking to office, we guys are also carrying some personal stuff with us. We always say that the personal and professional should be kept aside, but there are some things which cannot be kept aside, right? If my family member is not well, I cannot do well in the office. So there could be some sort of things where people might be going through it. So in that case, have the personal consolations with them, have a personal sessions with them, and see if this can fix that issue. And still, if you are not able to fix that issue, then probably God help them.
Great point. So we have Prashant. Prashant, you have raised your hand and there is a question. So can you go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question, please? Prashant?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to figure out how to lower my hand. Now I understood that. Thank you. I think, Kushal, you
Okay.
answered my question grouply very well.
Thank you.
Anonymous channel as well as result-oriented ideas. Thank you.
Yes. So two questions that have not come up, and now I am going to pose those questions. Is who should attend the retrospective? Very important. So many a times there is one thing that always happens, that if I am sitting in front of my boss, my chances of speaking are very less. So I get this question multiple times, that should a scrum master also be a part of the retrospective meeting? So Nidhi, this time let me start with you as to what is your feeling about who should attend as well as who should conduct the retrospective meeting.
Okay. So ideally for me, if we talk in a generic term, retrospective is something which a group of people are working together. So those group of people should be in the retrospective where they can discuss what issues are happening. And there are many organizations where the team members might be reporting to the scrum master or they are not. We have a metrics organizations as well. But it happens is like, even if I know it is very hard to give an input to your manager or say something, but you need to be very clear on what you are saying. If you are coming up with the open mind and if you are putting up your point with very positive manner, no one will be offended and your point will be heard as well. So it's not that just the Scrum team, as they are delivering something every sprint, they need to retrospect. And if we talk about the release, we might be, if there is a release, there might be a QAs, there might be developers, there might be infra team. So after the release as well, there is a need of a retrospective to make sure that, okay, this was the release, it was supposed to take 2 minutes and it happened entire day. Where we went wrong? So any set of people working together, the retrospective is required. And many times, as the Scrum says, like, those are the team members. When you are in a Scrum team, your designation does not matter. You are just a team member. You need to work as in a team. So that is where I would say, yeah, it is a bad example to have a managers in the Scrum team, because of the obvious reason. Whatever we try to neutralize, whatever we try to stay positive, but back of the mind there is a fear. But
Yes.
ideally, if we can form a team not around the managers, just around the individuals, that will be useful. Karthik, over to
Yes.
you.
Okay. I was just mentioning that this is the time where I have to break the legacy, right? Not having managers, not having CEOs. I would say let them walk into the retrospective, let them know what is happening. But this is the time, it's a time for having a change for the stakeholders as well. Even managers have to understand they are human beings, they are not gods, right? Even they can make a mistakes. And that's fair enough to make a mistakes. But it's not about judging anyone. That's the reason I mentioned very clearly it should be a retrospective meeting should be held up in such a way that no one should be judged, no one should be punished. There should not be any sort of anger or like probably having an bad intentions for someone. There should not be such things happening, right? So it's always an let managers walk in. I don't see any sort of like any problems in that, right? But it's very high time that a scrum master or an agile coach they have to mold the entire stakeholders. Actually, they also have to understand the values of scrum, right? They have to understand the five scrum values. They have to understand five scrum ceremonies. And why do we have scrums? Are they willing to improve their organizations? Are managers are willing to improve their team? Right? Do they want to take the team to the next level? Do they want to take the project to the next level? If the answer of that question is yes, they should not be a problem to have a managers into the team meeting.
Fascinating. Fascinating point of view, Karthik and Nidhi. But my point of view here, and there is a lot of literature that has been published on who should attend. And there is a lot of, because there is always a fear of hierarchy. So a lot of people say that your scrum master himself should never be the person running the show. So either you call a anonymous third party from outside, or maybe a scrum master from another team to come and conduct this meeting, so that all fairness, everyone is heard properly. Because the giver and the taker both are human beings. So maybe the giver can be bold enough and say that Khushru, you did something wrong. But if Khushru takes it wrongly, then who is there to control Khushru? So that is where it is very important that a third party and arbitrator from outside be called to conduct a retrospective that is free of any fear and can be conducted very objectively, and not and subjectivity should not introduce into those discussions. So that is another point of view of that. So are there any other questions? Are there any other questions that we can take? We are into the last 5 minutes, so I would encourage if there are any questions people would want to ask. No? Okay, great stuff. So, Nidhi and Karthik, can we now have a wrap up of your
I think we are
ideas or
getting
whatever you?
sorry, Kushru, I think
Am
we
I-
are getting questions.
Okay, so we tend. Can we have a retro of retro? Absolutely. Can we have a retro of retro like Scrum of Scrums? Absolutely. Absolutely. We should have a retro of retro. Every time when we step into a retrospective meeting, please make a habit of discussing the outcomes of the previous meeting. And as Nidhi very well pointed out, see what are the benefits those inputs gave to your current Scrum process. Absolutely. Again, Prashant's question, we tend to give feedback more instead of sharing our views. I went wrong. What went wrong, right or wrong? What were the causal factors? When and how it happened? Who is understood? How it happened? Who is understood? Yeah, that is okay. That is okay. So, Nidhi, Karthik, your views on this question of Prashant.
So I always mention, right? Giving a feedback always it's not at all a bad idea. Feedback should be given and it should be welcomed with an open arms. But again, it should be like how you take it up and whether the feedback which we have got, right? Did we got it from the correct intentions of a person? Because sometimes the person is sharing a feedback with the wrong intentions as well, right? And that can be easily noted down when we are reading the feedbacks. So it's always about people's intentions and with which intentions people have given the feedback, and try to incorporate it with the things what we have into our plate. If it's really a feedback where we have an improvement area, right, or a gray area of an improvement, in that case we can incorporate it, we can figure it out, we can go deep into it, and probably we can resolve that issue. So there is nothing wrong in giving a feedback, but also at the same point of time appreciate people. I would always say appreciate people, because appreciation would actually help people to get uplifted, and people would actually I'm very sure that people would actually work much better, and your productivity of your team would increase on a much percentage. So this is what I feel, that including giving feedback is not at all a bad idea, but also start appreciating the people.
Yeah, Nidhi.
Yeah, I would say there are many ways to give a feedback. Like the what you are trying to say, it seems not Karthik, the Prashant. What you are trying to say is the feedbacks are given direct. As per me, never give a feedback directly. First, sit with that person, talk about something, then start with the positive, and then present your feedback in a such a manner that it is not being taken negatively.
How
Feedback is
you give your feedback is very important.
yeah, yeah. How you give your feedback is important. Feedback is also important, but how you are delivering it, it measures how the person he who is sitting in front of you is going to take
Yeah.
it. So always
So
start with
if
their
I say
good points.
if I say you are an idiot, now that is a feedback, but that's not
Yeah.
the way to say tell somebody that you are an idiot. Okay, the better thing would be to get into the details of where he went wrong. Another question that is there from Gururaj Patil is one of the traits of a Scrum Master is a facilitator. So it is expected that the Scrum Master should have facilitation skills. At the end of the day, the Scrum Master is also a human being. He has emotions, he has senses. So not all human beings are equal, and this is facilitation is a soft skill which comes after years and years of practice. So not many people take feedback too kindly, they take it too personally. So my feedback, my take would be, yes, he is a facilitator, but he is a human being. So there is a possibility of the feedback not being taken too kindly by the Scrum Master also.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, facilitation skills are something really very must have quality of the Scrum Master. And as Khusru Doctor said, like it never comes easily; it comes gradually. So if you
Correct,
see sometimes a job opening for a Scrum Master, they would be saying like 9+ year of experience. Experience is needed for such profiles.
correct. So
I do
tips to give
agree.
a tips to give a constructive feedback. Now, that is a whole topic by itself. We can take a maybe maybe we can take another session on how to give a constructive feedback. But don't be my one tip would be, don't be subjective, don't be personal. Khushru is not a bad person. The Scrum Master role that he plays, he does is not efficient at it. That is, don't get personal. The minute you get personal with anybody in the role, a barrier will come and the person will shut down. So if you want to give a very constructive feedback, talk about improvement areas and don't stop being subjective. Be objective, show the path of improvement. I usually tell this in my presentations of on feedback, that people ask how to give a feedback. Tell me I am an idiot, but then also tell me how I can not be an idiot. Then that feedback is a positive feedback. If you tell me I am an idiot, then though I know I am an idiot, I will take it very personally and I will hate you for it. Okay? So does that answer your question, SP? Yeah. So fascinating questions, fascinating inputs I have received from Karthik and Nidhi. A lot of learning for me personally about retrospectives. There is a lot of things that we can help you with. So if there is somebody who wants to have a greater discussion on this, feel free to come back to us, ask questions. Prashant will be able to help you with my IDs and everything. So, and thank you guys. Thank you for being a patient listener on a Saturday afternoon. So over to you, Nisha, and people at ANI.
Yep.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys
Thank
for all
everyone.
the time.
thank you, Kushru, Dr. Kaur. Thank you, Nidhi, and thank you, Karthik, for the wonderful discussion on the topic.